Whereas you can see our bishops are doing their job. They are not against seminaries, but they won't properly run seminaries. Father Fifer repeated again that Bishop Williamson was fighting his seminary because he's against seminaries. No. I was there, sitting in the living room, when Bishop Williamson told Father Fifer, I don't like your way to run the seminary. You are not competent to run seminaries. You got plenty of other talents, but not that one. So, I don't endorse your seminary. Find yourself another bishop. Well, find yourself a valid bishop. We are called the Moran Corps of St. Pius X. We remain, until our last breath, the children, the sons of St. Pius X. So I'm very glad to be back. I was far away way too long, but I had to go to New Zealand. So in New Zealand and Australia, other priests are filling in. So because Father Pico is gone, I will not be able to go to Australia and New Zealand for Easter. So I will stay here. So you will have Holy Week as usual. And also Priory is being established in New Zealand, so donations are coming, so it should be possible for us to buy a nice plot of land in New Zealand. We have several offers of land, and so it seems that this Priory is going to be a reality. So that fits my wishes, that Australia and New Zealand take care of themselves and have their own priests and are well taken care of. You got very good people over there, and so I wish them the best success in everything, both in Australia and in New Zealand. So that's a very big unburdening for us, a very big relief for us to see that things are getting organized down south, down under, so we can focus on Asia. Because Asia is 2/3 of humanity, so we barely got started, here in Asia. Bishop Zendejas says he will consider the date of his coming in the minutes of the bishops. So I guess the bishops have meetings, and so they will communicate us the date of Bishop Zendejas' visit as soon as he knows them. But he intends to come. So he says, I will not abandon you, I will really take good care of you. That's what he told me. That's good news. Bishop Williamson is coming to India, and he will ordain Jean Marcotique, and I think I already told you. On the side of the new SSPX, the latest buzz is Bishop Wunder. H-U-O-N-D-E-R, German bishop. It's a Novus Ordo bishop who is retiring in the school of the SSPX. What can we say about it? The case makes me wonder, yes, what is a Novus Ordo bishop doing in the school of the SSPX? In theory, if a bishop wants to retire, yeah, he can come and retire, yes. But normally, this type of bishops vomit Vatican II. Like in your country, you had a bishop of this type, Bishop Lazzo, and he vomited Vatican II. And then he denounced Vatican II, and he died confessing the faith. He's a confessor of the faith. He is buried in Our Lady of Victory Church in Manila. But this wonder, is a Novus Ordo bishop who has sympathies for the Latin Mass, but also likes altar girls or immodestly dressed girls, the pictures are on the web. And he's going there. So it's part, we say we are worried about it because the record is not set straight. He's not making any precisions as to what his position actually is. about the crisis of the church. And it seems that it's a preparation. It's like this bishop of Satana, in Azerbaijan, I don't remember his name. What's his name? The bishop. I don't remember. But it's like they are trying to fuse gently. So they are bringing in Novus Ordo bishops. Because one of the questions in the SSPX that everybody is asking, as Bishop Tissier is retiring because of ill health, is what type of episcopal succession are they going to have? Since now they are in total canonical subjection to the Novus Ordo rule. I repeat to you that if there is a danger of heresy, if there is heresy, the jurisdiction cannot be used. It's still valid. That jurisdiction, they can still have their valid marriages and confessions, but for us, we cannot use that jurisdiction. And so we can clearly see that they are little, gradually, very gently, in stages, in gradual steps, they are being recycled into the bosom of the Novus Ordo. So there are no clear, there is no clear episcopal succession emerging for the mainstream SSPX. If I was somebody of the SSPX, I would worry very much at these maneuvers. Nothing has been asked of that bishop. We had the case of Bishop Mana, in Thailand, and then we asked him, please, that was the mentality 15 years ago. We asked him, please get out of the conciliar church, denounce Vatican II. Bishop Mana became Bishop May not, and I will not, and eventually he disappeared. But that was the mentality. But then now there's a new attitude now. You just take them as they are, Novus Ordo, and you don't ask them, you don't request them to leave. At least the heirs of Vatican II. It's not being, the formal request is not being made. And so that's a slide, definitely. And then there's a development in a soap opera of Father Fifer. Father Hugo has threatened to leave Father Fifer. Father Hugo is Father Fifer's main lieutenant. So Father Fifer cannot do without Father Hugo. It's impossible. The two are matched together. They've been together for a long time. But Father Hugo also has enough with Pablo the Mexican, so who rules the seminary. So he has enough of both this fraud, which is Bishop Moran, or the man who styles himself as an archbishop. So he's not. We don't even know that he is a priest. He can't prove that he is a priest. He can't give us even certificates that he is a priest, let alone that he is a bishop. Now, Father Hugo at last realizes the truth that is in the studies made by Father Ortiz, by Tony La Rosa, by those who have told him, warned him about the Moran case, that all sweet as this man may be, I can have a beer with him anytime, the man is fake. His fakes are not real. And so the reaction of Father Fifer was to backpedal and to request Moran to provide with better fakes. Fakes that are real. Fakes that are believable. So that's the state. So he says, dear Archbishop Ambrose Moran, we can't use your episcopal service. It means the episcopal service is there, But we are not going to use you. But you need to provide us a better paperwork. So go back to your Photoshop and provide us signatures that are not your own handwriting, Don't fake the signature of Cardinal Slippe with your own handwriting, Be aware that people on the web will look at those papers. Be aware that the people on the web, they will call the letterhead, they will call the eparchy of this or that, the diocese of this or that, and find out what is the GOCA, what is the genuine Orthodox Church of America, and they will make the inquiry. So please Archbishop Cardinal Ambrose Moran, please provide us with better fakes. So that's the position. And then Father Pfeifer is still using a priest which was so-called convalidated by Moran, so it's a big problem. Because implicitly it means that Father Pfeifer still believes Moran is good to go, valid, when the case is absolutely not proven, you know. But there was a backpedaling, so Father Schuko did not carry out his threat to leave Father Pfeifer, because seemingly Father Pfeifer says, I'm not using him. Just like Bishop Fele used to say about the April 15 declaration. I don't know if you remember, in 2012, Bishop Fele wrote a horrible declaration in which he accepts the new Mass as legitimately promulgated, the new code as valid and to be used, and the code of the Church, and Vatican II as being clearly understandable in the light of tradition. Now he says, no, this document, I don't like it very much, but it's on my desk, I'm not using it. So be happy with the fact that I am not using it, you know. The bleeding knife is on the desk, but I'm not using it, you know. The radioactive bomb is there on my desk, but I'm not using it. There's just a big button there. I hope I won't be distracted, I won't press the button, but it's there, I'm not using it. So that's basically the situation. Somebody's asking us, so what's the relationship between Father Pfeifer and the rest of the resistance? There is none. 3 years ago, Father Buffet told me in Northern Ireland, I don't want to see him, I don't want him to talk to my faithful. He is only there to bring chaos and disorder. That's a reaction of Father Buffet. And that's a reaction of all the confreres of the resistance. So there's a lot of turnaround even in Father Pfeiffer's own organization, and they eventually come in and come out, and lots of scandals. So, and this happened 3 years ago. There's nothing new about it. So we have not been cooperating with him because it's impossible to live with him. It's impossible for plenty of reasons. Whereas you can see our bishops are doing their job. They are not against seminaries, but they won't properly run seminaries. Father Pfeiffer repeated again that Bishop Williamson was fighting his seminary because he's against seminaries. No. I was there, sitting in the living room, when Bishop Williamson told Father Pfeiffer, I don't like your way to run the seminary. You are not competent to run seminaries. You got plenty of other talents, but not that one. So, I don't endorse your seminary. Find yourself another bishop. Well, find yourself a valid bishop. So, if Father Pfeifer finds himself a valid bishop, there is nothing we can say. But let him find at least a valid bishop, not a crook. And so, you must understand that this is out of charity for him, that we request him not to use a fake. We don't want to see fake priests hopping in the planes and popping up, you know, like mushrooming everywhere, and seducing people who haven't looked into the case. You know, it concerns us in the Philippines because Filipinos don't check the facts very much. We have an ex-seminarian now, and he's going around as a priest. You know, he was not seminarian for a long time. I threw him out very quickly. But you have an ex-seminarian who goes around as a priest. So, because it's the Philippines, you put a priestly attire, says, I am a priest, and then you can go ahead. Because people are not going to check the facts. So that's what it concerns me. So I don't want invalid priests to come in our territories and spread chaos. So I wish him the best, you know, since he wants to be on his own, I wish him the best. But that's the finding an invalid bishop is not the right way. And the best option that he doesn't want to consider is to reconcile with good bishops. Now, if our bishops give us a hard time and they have requirements, that's fine, you know. I don't always get my way, you know, but that's good. That's good. I'm not always right, and I need to comply. So they don't always do what I wish, but that's the way it is. That's the way it is. We have a chain of command, and there is a somewhat a juridical bond, which is not an ordinary bond between us, is an emergency bond. But there is somewhat a hierarchical level between us priests and the bishops. And we ought to conform to their guidelines. And so far, they've been fair with us. So, more or less, I'm getting my the ordinations on schedule, more or less, It's not perfect. I had to fly to Brazil to get Father John ordained. But eventually Father John is proving himself. So he came to take care of you 2 weeks ago. So Father John is proving his worth. And they did the right decision to ordain Father John, who was calumniated by Father Fifer. So he was attacked by Father Fifer because Father Fifer was not happy that Father John would be ordained. But we have a priest who is proving himself and who is proving false the calumnies that were made against him. So, the bishops are giving us fair treatment. I believe fair treatment. And if they are tough with us, then good on us. Whatever, My job is to present to them candidates to the priesthood. Whether they can deny, they can turn down the candidates that I offer to them. And so they are entitled to delay, they are entitled to ask me more time, they are entitled to look in the papers and check their classes and check the facts, and they have done so. And I'm grateful that they have done so, that they looked into the files of the seminary, the finances, the notes, the classes that are being given. That's good. That's fair enough. That's what you call a juridical bond, that we are accountable. So it's good to have those bishops because we are accountable. If there is any complaint about Father Chazal, you can always refer to the bishops. It's fine. You are entitled to do so. Then I will submit my own defense, and then they will decide. But to some extent, there is somewhat order, and there is some means to put an end to chaos when there is a disorder. That's the way the church is run. And Archbishop Lefebvre wanted it that way. Archbishop Lefebvre said we must set up ecclesiastical court because the Novus Ordo is not processing the marriage cases properly. And so Archbishop Lefebvre wanted a canonical court for the cases of marriage. Because Novus Ordo doesn't believe in marriage, in a Catholic notion of marriage. And in other cases, in criminal cases, we should have followed the advice of Archbishop Lefebvre and have our own courts in order to throw out, punish any gravely delinquent priest, instead of referring the matter to the Novus Ordo. Because the way the Novus Ordo handles criminal cases is a disaster. So, in a nutshell, that's the idea. You are much better off if there is some accountability and some juridical bond amongst us, even though we don't claim to have an ordinary jurisdiction. It's a jurisdiction which is there ad hoc, that is, in order to process the cases, the problems that we are facing hic et nunc. We cannot let situations to rot. It's not possible. It's not charity to allow situations to rot. And we can clearly see that in the movement of the resistance, there is this capability, more than even the SSPX before the crisis, that we have this capability to remove the cancerous cells. We have the capability, when there's a priest who has bad antecedents, who has true scandals, we have the capability to remove him. Similarly, there are priests whose case is not clear, who are not that guilty. And we have been able to retain those priests, because those priests were able to be kept. And they were able to be kept to do penance or to recover their priesthood. because the delict was not that great. And the church has always allowed them to do penance and to be reinstated. So we have those cases. So discernment is happening, Whereas, very sadly, in the past, in the neo-SSPX, priests whose case were not complete, whose case should have been solved easily, were led to rot, unjustly. So I'm glad to see that there's been a canonical improvement. That is, justice has been served better now in the resistance than even before. Before there was grave injustice and grave chaos. Also, another thing you notice in the resistance, I have not been transferred. Father Valan, Father Sunil, Father Pico have not been transferred. This is a great case of stability. I've been serving you since 2012, and now you know me very well. You know my defects very well. But there is stability here. There is stability. And when Jean-Marc will be ordained, he will be assigned a place, like the Visaya, and his faithful will know him very well. And that's the mind of the church. That stability is the mind of the church. And all my confreres everywhere in the resistance have been enjoying a great stability. And I guarantee you that for the faithful everywhere in the world, it's also a big relief. A great stability is taking place. So on the outside, it did look like chaos, but I guarantee you on the inside things are much clearer. And as the time goes by, you're going to see that the things are growing organically and with organization. And locally, our imprint is getting bigger. And our knowledge of the tactical situation is getting higher as we grow organically. So we don't have this chaos that still reigns in the neo-SSPX of the constant game of transfers and changes. There's a lot more stability now, you can say, in the resistance than in a neo-SSPX. So that's my reply to those who are asking us what's going on, And then, so I hope Father Hugo sees the light of day. I think the maneuver of Father Fifer has succeeded, and Father Hugo is not coming out as of now. But the place is still dysfunctional because of the Mexican over there, who is causing a lot of chaos. So otherwise there are massive also bastions in the resistance. The biggest one being the convent of Avrier in France. I wish them to establish themselves in the United States. I pray for that. They are thinking about it, but it takes them ages to do so. Because again, the religious order think very slow, very stable, and very deliberately. But I hope that someday they come to the US, because the Father Fifer is not the only game in town in the US. And the coming of the Dominicans will be a big boost for the operation of Bishop Zanderas over there. So that's basically all I have to say as a news for this time. Thank you. Let's pray. The Father, the Son, and Holy Ghost, amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Most Sacred Heart of Jesus, Mary conceived without sin, Saint Joseph, Saint Pius X, and the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.